Constitutional Court Justice Edwin Cameron says clerks or registrars in magistrates' courts do not constitute the court itself. He says appropriate judicial oversight must be guaranteed to protect the poor and most vulnerable.
A debtor's personal circumstances are likely to change between when the judgment debt is entered in order to be paid and when an emoluments attachment order is sought. So not insisting on judicial oversight may limit debtors' constitutional rights of access to court. And it may also implicate the debtor's protection against arbitrary deprivation of property in Section 25 of the Constitution. Judicial oversight over the emoluments attachment order process will thus alleviate the harsh effects of an emoluments attachment order on distinctly vulnerable, low-income debtors' dignity and livelihoods.
The South African Human Rights Commission calls the ConCourt judgment a victory for the poor.
And it's really a victory for access to justice for ordinary poor people in South Africa today, because it makes space for judicial oversight before these judgments can be issued. So going forward, people who don't have access to expensive lawyers can trust that the court will be looking out for them with respect to these judgments.
You'd find that a person, a debtor, is in another jurisdiction, be it Cape Town, but a judgment is granted against them in PE. Having that poor person, having a judgment granted against that poor person in another jurisdiction where they can't even physically access the court, I would see that as an abuse of the process.
The Credit Ombudsman says they have received a huge amount of complaints regarding emolument attachment orders, also known as garnishee orders.
You know, from the Credit Ombuds office, there was a year, the previous year, where the most number of cases that came into the office related to garnishee orders. The most curious one that I've ever seen was that there was a government worker salaried about 12,000 rand per month, but because of so many emoluments attachment orders against his salary, he was left with 12 rand at the end of the month. That's the most scariest one we've seen, 12 rand.
It is reported that there are as many as 2 million garnishee orders in the country. The judgment is being held then as groundbreaking and another means to balance the scales of justice. The Constitutional Court has confirmed that garnishee orders that were granted without requisite judicial oversight are indeed unconstitutional. The court stopped short of declaring certain provisions of the Act unconstitutional and instead opted to simply change the wording to make it constitutional. From today onwards, only magistrates of the court will be able to issue garnishee orders which they deem fair and equitable. Michael Appel, ANN7, Constitutional Court, Johannesburg.